Quarter turn to your right. Abdominals and thighs. A lat spread. Double bicep. Side chest. Any side. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Side tricep. A lat spread from the back, showing hamstrings and calves. A lat spread. Right turn and turn. Face agility. Any most muscular force. Quarter turn to your right.
Well, at the present moment for NABBA UK, I am the person who does all the calls at the shows. Quarter turns and all the compulsory poses. I've done this for a number of years. This was given to me by Tony Sullivan. Tony thought that I would be okay in the job. I was not sure because of my accent. And the person, after I did the first one, I was at the NABBA meeting and he turned around and said, who was that idiot that was doing the calls? And I turned around and said, it was me. I says, if you're not happy, I says, that was the last time I'll do it. And Tony Sullivan turned around and he says, no, you're not. He says, you'll do it and you'll get better. He says, don't be put off by what other people say. And I've done it ever since. I enjoy it. And it's not that I can speak different languages. I can't. But I've got a voice that is very forceful. And the people from, doesn't matter what country they come from, they know what I say. When I say quarter turn to your right, all of them do it. And that is the way I am. Straightforward.
Do you enjoy it?
I do. I love it. I don't know, I do it all over the world. And people expect me because I'm known as the voice of NABBA. And not that I'm involved that much with NABBA, but apart from that, it's my voice that you'll hear on DVDs and nobody will see my face. Not that they would want to see my face, but fair enough, you hear my voice.
50 years ago, or before 50 years ago, he joined my gym. I just opened the first gym in Chestnut Street, and of course Bryan came in as a member then. And simply, we became friends. And he followed us through all my early shows.
I guess I've on stage a few times and hearing his voice. He's the voice of the stage of NABBA, telling me what to do and where to be. And through the years, God has been instrumental, opening doors for me in my judging.
Well, I first met Bryan, blimey, I would have been 21, 22 years old when I did my first Mr. Britain. And
Many moons ago?
Many moons ago, that would have been, I think, 90, maybe 91, something like that. So, and after winning 5 Mr. Britons and 2 Mr. Universes myself, I've been in the game quite a long time, over 30 years now. So every time I've competed abroad, Bryan's been there to give us the support. And he's a massive, massive part of NABBA, and I couldn't imagine NABBA being without him, to be fair. He's so keen and everything, guides everyone, gives everybody as much help as possible, and I love the guy, he's brilliant.
To Britain, first timers, 2012, where I won, and spoke to you backstage and got a decent photo with you. I passed on to Chris. First thing I did notice, you have always got time to speak to people. I mean, I'd only been competing, a couple of weeks.
Northwest 2010.
Right.
For sure. You did tell me to stop pausing about 20 times, right?
Coming down to the Mr. Universe contest in the early 60s, he was with us when we first met Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was with us through all of the shows that I've ever done. He was there. And when I did guest spots, me and Bryan travelled together. And we've always been together for over 50 years now. And of course, I was in Malta yesterday, and I've just got a flight over now. I had to be here for his birthday.
This is the story of Bryan Robinson as told by his friends, his colleagues and Bryan himself. So it's early September and we've been invited to join Bryan as he celebrates his 80th birthday. I arrived early that day to talk to Bryan about his life experiences in bodybuilding. We started the day at Bryan's gym in Woodstone Village just north of Durham, where he showed me his shrine to the sport he loves.
This is Bryan's gym. I've had this gym for 35 years. And as you see, it's not up to date, but it is my gym. I've been involved with bodybuilding since I was 17-year-old, and I am still in love with bodybuilding.
Bryan's gym is small yet functional, with many old school apparatus and a good mixture of weights which have been added to his collection over the years. What struck me was the vast array of images he has on his walls, a clear sign of his passion and history in the sport.
As you can see, we have been involved with a lot of people. Arnold Schwarzenegger, that was Arnold's 45th birthday party in London with John Citrone and Hazel. The Universe, Maggie Lister. We have here all the competitors from Prowse. On the top, you have the girls from, and well, one girl now, two girls from NAPA. You've got Sally and you've got Kelsey and Kay Goodwin. A photograph here of Tony Sullivan when he married a few years back, but we are sad that we have also lost Tony this year. The team that we took to Australia on the Gold Coast. We had a fantastic time.
It was Bernie Cooper, isn't it?
Bernie was with me, yes. The thing that Bernie did, which we were very appreciative of, was he did all the cooking. He brought everyone's dinner down onto the beach. He was fantastic. A gentleman of bodybuilding. On this photograph, we have myself with a Stetson on, John Citrone, Susanna Perez. This is John Citrone here, and Paul Byrne from Southern Ireland, who runs NABBA in Southern Ireland. This guy you all probably know, Eddie Elwood, one of the stalwarts of bodybuilding. This photograph with John Citrone was taken about 40 years ago in Italy, and we are still friends to this day. We have Charlie Claremont, Serge Newbury, and we also have Dennis Tinerino. We lost Dennis 2 or 3 years ago. He was Mr. Universe. Joe Walker, Stevie Johnson, Jan Smith, Natalie, and that is Dennis Tinerino when he won the Universe. We heard that Dennis was in England a few years ago, and we decided that he must be doing seminars. So we went to Gateshead, me and John Citrone, to see him, but when we got there, he was a born-again Christian, and he was preaching. So we got the shock of our lives. We didn't know he was a born-again Christian. It was just one of those things.
Not your average type of seminar then?
No. He blessed us all.
Yeah.
One of my favourite bodybuilders of all time, Charlie Claremont, Savoy from the Czech Republic. Kelsey, who can you get anybody better than Kelsey? Flora, and an old photograph of Franzian. The guy on the right hand side at the top,
Yeah.
the Stetson that I wear, he bought it for me, but he died about 5 years since. Mike Scarcella from America. He was Mr. America. A really nice guy. This photograph here is the 50th anniversary of NABBA. On it, Reg Park, who is dead, Steve Reed, Ivan Dunbar, Bill Pearl, last name's gone, sorry. It's at the 1967 Mr. Universe contest in London at the Royal Hotel. That is Hazel, Arnold, Franco, and Adolf Ziegner. That's Carl Keinrock, and this is a friend of Hazel. We have the team that I took to to Russia. Fantastic team. We took 6 competitors, and every one of them took a place. They did fantastic. They were a pleasure to be with, and all I can say is that we are still friends.
How did you find Russia? Have you been before?
I have never been to Russia before. It was an experience. The organisation was fantastic. We had about 1,500 people at the audience, but I found out later that none of the audience paid to get in. And I think the guy who presented it was this gentleman here, who was in the board shorts, Mr. Universe. Up here we have 3 times Miss Universe, Susanna Perez from Spain. Susanna, she used to live opposite where I live, and she trained here, and she won 3 universes from this contest, from this gym. And there were a photograph up here. There were Arnold and John Citrone. They're both Bill Pearl, the king of bodybuilding. Always has, always been one of our favourites. A really great guy. Victor Terra, he won the amateur universe, the professional universe, also Mr. America. I've just spent 3 weeks with him in the Azores for a holiday. Fantastic. He's not like that now, he's a little bit smaller, but he's still a great guy. It's always been a pleasure to be with him. I don't know whether you should show this one. Should I put my hand across Eddie behind? Eddie Elwood, a very good friend. He took over the North Britain contest when I resigned, and he runs it to this day. Photographs at his Dora. She's from Brazil, another good friend. She now lives in America. And this one here was took at the universe. These 2 were juniors from, I think it's the Czech Republic, and they asked Hazel if she would go onto the stage and be presented with a rose, and that's Hazel being with the rose. Yes, these are medals that I've collected over the years. There's not very many. I've still got twice and not had them put up, twice as many, but it's always been a pleasure to receive a little bit of something from the show, from remembering, right? You know, Carl Jolley. I was just with Carl Jolley last week and his wife, and they're expecting their second baby, a lovely couple. More to the old part of NABBA, the part where I started with NABBA. You have Arnold and Johnny. That's Bill Richardson from Yorkshire. Arnold, Bill. That's me with Bill at Manchester. He did a seminar, and me and Hazel went down. We got a photo catch up with him. On the top, that is the Mr. Universe contest. John Citrone on the left, the one that came second, because them days we had 2 professional classes. We had the tall class and the short class. John won the short class, Arnold won the tall class. In the overall, Arnold beat John. We've also got Boyer Cole, Franco, and Jim Hazel. This is the start of NABBA. This was the gentleman who started it, Oscar Heidenstein, a guy whose love for bodybuilding was absolutely tremendous. As you can see, he did everything. He did the hand balancing, he did posing, he was the instructor, he was trained during the war, and it was a pleasure to be with him and still be part of his organisation. And as far as I'm concerned, it'll always be his organisation.
I was blown away by Bryan's timeline of imagery, but I wanted to find out more about his gym and Bryan as a person. I spoke to some of his gym members, and it was clear to see that Bryan doesn't see these guys as customers, but very close friends.
I've been coming to Bryan's gym for about approximately 20 years now. First walked through the door, met by Bryan, which is a massive figure in the bodybuilding world.
First time I met him will be obviously when I originally started the gym, when I became a member about 15 years ago. Instantly took to him. Went out for a meal, invited to a meal with his wife, Hazel. Beautiful woman, and ever since then, we just carried on training here and going out for meals together.
Been here 15, 16 years now. Never regretted a minute of it. He showed us the ropes, tell us exactly what to do. He always coaches you all the time, looks after you sort of thing, and obviously just stuck here.
I met Bryan about, it was been about 10, 12 years ago when I was 15, 16, and my father first brought us here, and just from there got on straight away. My father's known him a lot of years, and we just went from there. He showed us how to go on, done a proper routine with us, and just went from there, just kept coming in, and here we are.
Came here a few years ago, and at the moment I walked in the door, it's like you're walking around with your mouth open looking at, this is bodybuilding, you know, the history in here is amazing, just amazing.
Real old school.
Yeah, old school, and it just shows the passion that him and Hazel as well, they have for the sport, and they have all their lives. All their lives.
Took me to got me prepped for a few contests when I was younger, when I was 29. But Brian's then getting us ready to compete again. Been competing for 3 years now, various places, still finding out what I need to do to get there, but every year it's getting better. So
Brian's still looking after bodybuilders?
Yeah, Brian is bodybuilding, it's his life. He lives it, breathes it, eats it, sleeps it, and he just loves everybody in the field, wants to help everybody, be everybody's friend.
He's a very good mentor, if nothing else. He's a very good mentor, he's a good person to talk to, advice-wise, A to Z, he knows everything. He knows all the people who do the bodybuilding shows and whatnot, and he's just so knowledgeable.
You wouldn't meet a nicer guy, sort of thing, and he just makes you feel at ease. Like I say, I was green as grass when I come, didn't know a thing about training, bodybuilding, nothing, and he just takes you under his wing and sets you off, keeps you right, makes sure you don't hurt yourself, obviously, you know what I mean.
Experience, isn't it? He's met loads of people, loads of famous people. He's judging, he knows what to look for, he knows how to help you out in certain ways. If you want to lose a little bit of weight or keep some muscle, if you want to bulk up or whatever like that, he'll help you with that. It's just a really good environment to be in, especially with someone that knows the knowledge that he's got.
It's just his passion. He just loves it and loves being around bodybuilders, and he loves getting to know everybody and travelling, and he just likes to see everybody doing well and get the best that they can.
I think they just respect the amount of experience that he has and the people he's met and like coach sort of thing. So they take it on board and think, well, obviously the man, he knows what he's talking about, you know what I mean? And the photographs prove it all. The amount of people that he knows and the people he has trained. And he's an excellent judge. Obviously, he wouldn't be there if he wasn't, you know what I mean? He knows his stuff, that's the thing.
I guess, thinking about it now, just for his love of the sport, his love of the people. One thing I find, I get on, you know, with everybody, but when you meet a competitive bodybuilder, there are some people out there that let the side down, but there are in every walk of life. But largely, if you meet a competitive bodybuilder that stood on stage in anything like reasonable shape, you know something about the calibre of the person they are because of what they've gone through to attain that. And so I guess that's why we're quite a tight-knit community. And I guess that just really sparked something for Brian.
Yeah. Before I ever came into bodybuilding, I hated sports, all sports. I was never interested in anything. And I went to a friend's house one night and he was training with chest expanders. I know a lot of people wouldn't know what chest expanders are now, but that's what he was training with. So I got into training with these chest expanders. Then I found that there was a gym down the road that had an Olympic bar. So I went down and that was my first start in bodybuilding.
What year was that, Ryan?
I was 20 years old. That had to be like 60 years old. From there, I went to the gym in Sutton and trained there for quite a while. And then I found out that Citrone was opening a gym in Chesley Street. So I went down to Chesley Street and I joined John's gym. After a while, I was married to Hazel, and Hazel joined John's gym. And that was our start in bodybuilding. I knew John before he opened the gym. My first recollections of John was when he entered as a junior at Citrone Workmen's Club. And that was the first time I'd seen John Citrone. And then juniors were under 18. And that's where I first met John.
The early days of Oscar Heidenstam, when Oscar was running everything, so Brian was around. So he was there from the earliest days. I mean, when Schwarzenegger first came in around 1965, I think it was, Brian was there with me. So we met him together. And of course, he became interested in bodybuilding and the shows and that some years later. And then he took on the Mr. North Britain. And from there he became the NABBA chairman. And bodybuilding has just been his life. So it's been the perfect instrument through his retirement. When he retired from work, he could take on the job of getting around the shows and, you know, being part of the bodybuilding movement.
Years ago, the Masters was over 35, and that was the first time I ever competed. I was in my 40s then, but I competed at 35 at the Mr. and Miss North Britain contest. And I competed for 6 years. Never got anywhere, wasn't good enough. But the people that you met at these shows, they were great guys. And most of us are still friends to this day. And you cannot take them things away. That's up in your mind, and that's what you like. I joined the Health and Strength League, and that was before NABBA. And the only reason I joined it was because they had this idea of honour your body as your soul. But that was my chapel going, and that's where I started. But then after that, when NABBA started, I joined NABBA, and then it was 7 shillings and sixpence a year to be a member. I did that for 2 years, and then I think it became £1 for life membership, and I joined there. And I've been a life member ever since.
Looking back to the last time you were on stage.
Yes, it was at the Borough Hall at Hartlepool, the Mr. and Miss North Britain show. And after that, the guy that ran that show, he died. And I got the position of running the Mr. and Miss North Britain contest for NABBA. And I have been part of the organisation in a more positive way than what I was before. But NABBA has always been my love.
It was becoming clear that Bryan holds bodybuilding close to his heart, and that he has great respect for those who want to compete. Bryan and his wife Hazel have travelled the globe supporting British along with international athletes at the NABBA World Championships for many years. He is now Vice President of NABBA International and still announcing the call-outs at many events throughout the year. Despite the self-confessed lack of achievements on stage as a bodybuilder, he is still committed 100% to supporting athletes, promoters and shows of the sport. His drive and enthusiasm is clear to see, and it would appear that he is respected and held in high esteem by officials and athletes alike. Despite all this, Bryan lives a relatively quiet life in the north of England, and I wanted to know more about his time spent as a NABBA rep for the area.
When I was competing, I used to go down to the Borough Hall at Hartlepool, and Hartlepool is about 20 miles away from where we live. And I always had in my mind, because I tried before to take over, but my face didn't fit then. And when I did get it, I said the first thing I'm going to do is move it from the Borough Hall at Hartlepool, and I took it to Gated Leisure Centre. And Tony Sullivan and the people that were in charge then, they said, why are you moving it there? And I said, well, I've always wanted it to be in the north, like Gated, Newcastle. I said, that's where the bodybuilding area is. I said, that's where I want to go. And they said, well, you might be wrong, you might get nobody going. I said, well, that's my problem. I'm the one that's putting the money up. And if I lose, I lose. So I did it at the Gated Leisure Centre. I organised it. I went round all the gyms in the north, speaking to the guys, asking them if they would come to my show, and they all came. And on the afternoon, at the judging, I had 600 people in the audience, and Tony Sullivan and the rest of the council just couldn't believe I would have that many there. And we had like the 2 shows, one the judge on the afternoon, the show at night. At the evening show, 1,200 people in the audience. And they just said, oh, you knew what you were doing by bringing it here. I said, yes, I did. And I had it for 10 years. And I always did a sellout. You've got to get round the guys, talk to them, and let them know that you're interested in them. Yes, I am with NABBA, but I still go to everybody else's contests, whether it's IFBB or IBFA. I have Joe's show, I always go to Joe's. I go, if there's a bodybuilding show or anywhere that I can get to, I will go. Well, I became Vice President of NABBA under Eddie Elwood, and Eddie only stayed as the President of NABBA for 1 year, and then I took over as President, and I did it for 10 years. And from there I also become, still am, Vice President of NABBA International, which I have been for the last 10 years.
I first met Bryan when I started competing. He was Bill. He'd got his cowboy hat on. That's what I'm going to say. And he was just really, really good at cheering the crowd up. You know, he was just very personable.
I was judging at the time and I was asked to go up to Newcastle when Bryan had his show up in Newcastle.
He was the rep from that area, wasn't he?
That's right, he was at the Northwest. Really lovely bloke. Him and his wife, Hazel.
You know, I met Bryan about 200 years ago. No, it was a long time ago. I'm 40 now, so you're talking, I think I was like 15, 16, and I was due to do the NABBA North Britain. It's like as a junior competitor, and a friend of mine, Michael, knew Bryan. Bryan had the little gym. We went down to see Bryan, you know, just to have a look at me, see if I look okay for the show and stuff. And I tended to go down every couple of weeks. You know, Bryan used to have the ladies' class on in the gym, and I would go down when the ladies' class was on and stand in my little underpants, and Bryan would have a look at me and check me out. And yeah, he's always been very encouraging over the years for all my competitive efforts.
And we were invited up to Newcastle to one of Bryan's shows, and it was the best show I'd ever been to. I'd never seen a crowd so large, the atmosphere and everything about it, and I can remember looking and thinking, he's so nice, and yeah, it was just a fantastic show, best show I'd ever been to in my life, yeah.
We met in Aberdeen 14 years ago, my first international competition. You remember our first picture with me, great emotion.
I think a lot of people have got the idea that because the bodybuilders are big and huge, that they're nasty people. And this is totally wrong. They are some of the nicest people you will ever meet. I can go back from years and go to the first real big bodybuilding show that I ever went to. A friend of mine said, Reg Park, who was the current Mr. Universe then, was at Newcastle doing a guest spot. Would I like to go? So I said, yes, I'll go. So we went through, got to the door, sorry, got no tickets left. Come all the way through here, because then we didn't have cars, we got the bus, and we're kind of getting in. And we're just standing at the door, there was like 3 of us, and this taxi pulled up, and this guy got out. Most handsomest man you ever seen. Huge, tan, because he was living in South Africa then. It was Reg Park, and his wife Marion. And he came straight across to the 3 of us who were standing outside, shook hands, said, oh, you going to see us on the show, lads? I says, yeah. I says, well, we can't get in. I says, there's no tickets left. Just stand there for a minute. He went in. 2 minutes later, he came out with this guy. He says, right, well, lads, you're in there. And that was Reg Park, one of the greats, and that stands in your mind. And that puts bodybuilders where bodybuilders should be, real gentlemen. Bill Purr was always my favourite bodybuilder, Hazel's favourite bodybuilder, John Citrone. He was a true gentleman. And Bill Purr always had a word for you. We went to the Universe. When he was there, he would speak to you. Arnold, fantastic. Had some great times with Arnold. Franco. We met all of the top bodybuilders, and all of them were real great guys. We were with Arnold all the time. He was with NABBA. Then he went out to America, became Mr. Olympia, became a film star, and just lost contact with Arnold. And we were sitting in the house one night, and I got a phone call from Diane Bennett. And she says, Bryan, she says, Arnold's come to London, and it's his 45th birthday party. And having a party, would you like to come down? I said, I would love to come down. She says, right, we'll book you into the hotel. So me and here's John Citrone. I always mention John Citrone because we're always together. Just sorry about that, but that's John. And we went down, and we were sitting, having a drink, and Arnold came in, and he got his eye on us, and he came across and shook hands, how are you keeping, how are you doing? He remembered us. And that was something I just think, I wouldn't, but he did. And a strange thing did happen, that he said, would you like a photograph took? I said, I'd love a photograph took. So I got somebody to give them my camera, And I says, take us a photograph. And it wouldn't work. Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I can't get a damn photograph took with him. But sitting at the right-hand side was Dave Prowse, who was Darth Veda. And I said to Dave, I says, have you got your camera? He says, yeah. I says, take a photograph. And that is the photograph you see on the wall now.
Darth Veda took that photograph?
Darth Veda, Dave Prowse. Who was also the Green Cross Court man. It was fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. These people are big names, but they're still bodybuilders.
Yeah.
They're still bodybuilders. My enthusiasm comes from meeting people and speaking to people. It doesn't matter what show I go to, people will come up and shake hands and say hello, how are you keeping? I like that part of it. And my enthusiasm comes from Hazel and all. Because a lot of guys marry ladies that do not like them in the bodybuilding, kind of put up with them. Hazel has been fantastic. I've been to shows before and there's been kids there and I say to them, oh, where are you stopping tonight? Well, we're going to get a hotel. He says, room in my house if you want. She keeps saying to me, I've got no friends. All our friends is your friends. I said, yeah, and they're all your friends too. Because we go to shows, and if I'm there, not very often I'm there by myself, the first words I get is, where's Hazel? Where is she? And that's it. She's part of NABBA.
Hazel's Brian's rock, obviously she keeps him right. Makes lovely passion cakes as well. They're great after a long diet. And there's no show without Hazel.
Hazel, yeah, good old Hazel, yeah. They come together, everything they do, and you couldn't imagine them to be apart. And it's like Nan and Grandad do us all. I love it. Yeah, brilliant.
I think she wears the trousers. that's what I think, because when she comes and the shop shuts up.
She's always there, you know, and that's it. Yeah, she follows him around. She'll follow him around the world, and. I don't. They've probably never spent a few days separate. You know, all that time.
Because it's not a one person. It's a two person. It's like me and my wife and Brian and Hazel. We put a lot of work into it, and it's a joint venture. You couldn't do it on your own, and you've got to support each other. And Brian and Hazel have done it all the time. And like I said, they've been everywhere, done everything, and they're not. You know, they'll come forward and support anybody who needs it.
She's a lovely woman, straight mind. She tells you how it is. She used to run the gym for the ladies, so they used to have a ladies' night. And the lads weren't allowed in until 7 o'clock. That was up till 7 o'clock was ladies' night. And if you stepped through that door before 7 o'clock, you got it like. She was the boss. Brian's gym, but Hazel's the boss. But lovely woman again. They're both a smashing couple, you know what I mean?
Well, Hazel's like my mum, like he's like my dad. She tells me off all the time. You know. But yeah, every great man's a great woman. He couldn't be where he is. He couldn't have done what he did without Hazel.
The passion cake maker. Yeah, they're both a lovely couple. Like you say, the pair of them have supported me all the way through my bodybuilding career. Even though I don't compete with NABBA anymore, you know, I'm with IFPB now. You know, they still come to my shows. The show I run, you hear about all this federation war and everything. Brian doesn't kind of get into that. He supports bodybuilding basically. He's just a big fan of bodybuilding.
She keeps them right, for starters and all that. She's the boss, she wears the trousers. She's just got a big heart and you can see this. Brian loves it to death and Hazel loves Brian back, you can see this. They're just good together.
They're like one unit together. They just do so much together in their own little ways. And yeah,
Brian and Hazel, wasn't
it? It is. Absolutely together. I mean, competitors all over the world. Every time you meet them, there's another story. And people. Hazel's passion fruit cake is legendary. People all over the world talk about it, and I'm not exaggerating. Yeah. And the friends, the real true friends that they have, people that go out with their way for them, and it's just testament to the two of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You wouldn't say Hazel without Brian. No.
Who wears the trousers?
Hazel. I said nothing to that. I definitely say Hazel.
Hazel.
Yeah, I think it's Brian.
I think he's brilliant.
Hazel keeps him in line, mind.
Yeah.
Oh, that is Hazel.
I've travelled all over the world. I've been to Brazil 4 times. I've been to Australia twice. I've been everywhere. And I'm 80-year-old now, but I still enjoy going. I've just come back from Russia, a place I'd never been to. We were on the road 20 hours. And that's been our lives. And we've never had children. But we look on every bodybuilder is our child.
It was an emotional end to our time at the gym, and Bryan wanted to take me to his home to show me his vast collection of trophies he proudly displays. Ironically, he has never won any of the trophies as a bodybuilder, rather received in recognition of Bryan and Hazel's contributions to the bodybuilding world over many years.
This is from Paul Jeffries, from Yorkshire to Bryan and Hazel. Not just Bryan, Hazel, tireless work and support to the NABBA North East Championships. This is another one of our great memories. This trophy was won by, well, not won, he came 3rd at the Open Oscars in 1989. This was Victor Terrace, and he gave it to me for safekeeping and for being a great friend. I really love this trophy. It is absolutely fantastic. I've never won a trophy, but I've got lots of trophies in here given to me, and I really look on this as one of the best. The glass vase was given to me by Paul Byrne from Southern Ireland for my 50 years, and Hazel, not just mine, another one that I really think the world of. Can't do that one.
Wave, Hazel.
The trophy at the back was given to me by a great friend of mine, Eddie Elwood, when he took over from me to be the rep for the North Britain. It's a fantastic trophy, and I really appreciate Eddie giving me that. The bust was a presentation from Denny Hoyle, who used those as a competition at his Christmas party. I admired them so much, Denny bought me, Eddie Elwood Jr. and Eddie Elwood Sr. one, and I like that. It's absolutely fantastic. This one is a present from Hazel last Christmas. She couldn't find anything else for me, so she bought me a trophy because she thought I looked like that.
There's enough trophies in this house and you buy him another one.
I bought him another one.
When I was running the North Britain contest, I used these silver trophies which I purchased in Italy and were brought from Italy by John Citrone to be used for the North Britain. This trophy was from the first Mr. America contest, NABBA Mr. America contest, run by Victor Terra. I liked the trophy so much, I brought it home and Tom Fox copied it. This one, it's got nothing to do with me. This is Hazel's. This was given to her by a great friend, Walter O'Malley, because he said, it's here, Walter O'Malley, Autumn Classic Special Award. And he said Hazel was special. These two that we bought the Thinker, because we always thinking what we can do for other people, and also the guy with the spear we bought in Greece. One more you might like to see. Bryan and Hazel. Anthony Bales presented that for our birthdays. This trophy that Hazel is holding was presented to us in Brazil in, sorry but I can't remember the date now, but we were in
São Paulo.
São Paulo, and the Brazilians presented that to me and Hazel.
It's beautiful looking trophy.
Nice, isn't it?
This trophy was given to me by great friends John and Kim Citrone. I left NABBA organisation as a rep.
Who wears the trousers in this house?
Hazel.
Yes.
2015 I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and when the specialist told me I had prostate cancer, I was really worried. I was frightened, in fact. I thought, well, that's it, I haven't got long. But then I went to see other specialists, and then I read up about it, and I read that you could have an operation. I thought, oh, this is good, I'll have the operation. So when I went back to see my specialist, I said, I've read about it, and they said I have an operation. And he sort of looked at me and he says, no, not for you. He says, it has progressed too far, it's in your bones, and for us to have an operation on you, you might not get over it. So we're going to try and give you a different treatment and see what it brings.
Bryan stood stern, like he always does, stiff upper lip and all that. I didn't really get to see much of Hazel over this period. Still went for meals, but didn't really have a heart-to-heart, if you like. But seeing Bryan, I was a little concerned. He just went with it till it sorted itself out. He's stronger than that, to be fair.
Well, they're both very strong-minded people. I didn't know about it initially, and I heard and I asked him about it and he told us, and it was a bit of a shock. But no different, he's no different, not phased, dealt with it really well, still goes out for his walks and that and everything, and it's like no different, and just might mention it every now and again. So, great, I mean, they've dealt with it really well.
I must admit, you wouldn't really know much about it, and in fact, when he told us about it, I was quite shocked, because like, he didn't let on at all, there was no inkling about it at all, and even now, you wouldn't think he was going through it. I mean, he's on medication and all the rest of it, sort of thing, but he just seems to be normal Bryan for all what he's got going on, you know what I mean? He doesn't let it affect him, sort of thing.
At the time, my bloods was at 28.5, which was very, very high, too high in fact. Then I went for radiotherapy. I did that for weeks, and then they started to give me an injection in the stomach every 3 months. And then I went back for another check on my bloods, and it came down to 14, which they were quite happy about. And at the present moment, my bloods are at 0.08, which is absolutely fantastic. So I've got it, but by God, it's not going to kill us.
Bryan was very strong. Bryan was very strong. Yeah, he was obviously pretty much about the worst news you can hear. But Bryan was very strong, because he's a strong person anyway, but very strong for Hazel. And I'm sure that's where his main concerns and main thoughts were lying. But he, as he doesn't with anything, didn't let it get him down. He put on a brave face. Did well, Bryan, and he just carries on doing. He was like, right, okay, I've got this, but I don't feel like I've got it, and he just passed on. He just carried on and did as much as he possibly could at any one time, and he did really well through all his treatment, and he's come out the other side with flying colours. You know, his people in here have been saying to me tonight, he looks 20 years younger, sort of thing. It took his toll on him, I think, probably, and I've seen it with other people, maybe just mentally, the fact that you know you've got cancer, and how that's a massive black cloud hanging over you, and so that on its own affects you, irrespective of what's going on in your body. I sort of saw that happen, and I've seen it before, but again, he didn't let that affect him for long, and he just got on and dealt with it.
I just think I've got a positive personality, and I just thought, no, it cannot happen to me. And bodybuilding has been my life and my diet, and I still train every day. I still go around the shows. I enjoy it, and you've got to look that way. You can't just say, oh God, I've got cancer, I'm going to die. No, not like that. Just be positive and just get on with your life. If you wake up on the next day, you've sorted it, and that's as far as I can say. Every time I went to the hospital or I went to see a seminar on cancer, she came with me and we discussed things, and there was little things that we saw that we thought, oh, I don't want you to go down that. And no, she was very, very supporting. And that's what you need, is a wife who will support you.
Without this woman, I wouldn't be here.
Despite his time as a rep and his position in NABBA, Bryan's voice is what he is best known for today.
Abdominals and thighs, abs and thighs. Side tricep. Double bicep. Now split on the beat with your knees and elbows together.
I wanted to find out what it's like for those on stage receiving instructions from the familiar sound, and how the Robinson duo have helped bodybuilders and shows worldwide.
What's turn to your right, you know what the legend voice is like. Even in Russia they loved him. I went over to the Worlds, it was just me and Bryan travelling at first. We went on the Tuesday, so me and Bryan had about 4 or 5 days together, it was brilliant. And we just had a right laugh, it was amazing.
He's the voice of NABBA, he's the voice of bodybuilding competitions for God knows how many years, for people all over the world,
It's great, it's comforting, and it gives you a sense of that you're home, like, you know, sort of thing. And every time we've been abroad competing as well, he's always been there as well, so that's nice to know that someone's out there for you as well. And because it's very daunting for guys that it's their first time abroad competing, you know, and like I said, we've had Bryan there all the way through, and it's been absolutely great.
The way he talks, he thinks of the bodybuilder, and I think that comes first, and he talks to them in a relaxed form of talking to someone, and it puts them at ease.
I think he offers bodybuilding an awful lot, and so does Hazel, his wife, because she helps the ladies as well as Bryan helping all the gentlemen as well, you know. And they're both very good, to my mind, and Keith, my husband, they're very good ambassadors for bodybuilding.
Bryan's always believed in me, and he's always said, you know, you can do this, you can go on and do more comps, and you know, it's probably what's pushed me, people saying that right from the start, like Michael Sullivan, he got me, you know, said there's potential there, keep going. So it's definitely Bryan, you know, he's always admired, you know, said nice things and that, and I love him for that, it's great, so it has kept me going.
He's done everything there, he does it at all his own expense, and he goes and he loves what he does, you know, he goes all over the world, more than any counsellor I know has ever been over there.
I needed to rest my legs and fill up, but Bryan, being 80, absolutely kept making me walk everywhere. So we walked into the middle of Samara, and I said to Bryan, I can't walk back, we need to get a taxi. So he was going, you're joking? And this guy's 80-year-old and he's such full of life, he's just brilliant.
I can go to him and I can get information that I think's right, because he's a stickler for the rules, and he'll make sure everything is right. I don't care who it is, if it could be his best friend, but he'll make sure that whatever he says, and if I'm wrong, he'll tell me, and he'll tell any other counsellor, and he'll stick by his guns because he sticks by the rules.
I judged with Oscar Heidenstam because he had to sit the supernumerary course with NABBA to become a judge, and I did mine with Oscar Heidenstam, and I've still got my certificate in the gym somewhere from when Oscar gave me this certificate, and I am proud to say that I am and have been a NABBA judge. I can pick a winner, no bother at all. As I said before, that my idea is you've got to look for a perfect physique. It's no use looking for somebody with massive arms and nothing else. No, you want an overall physique, and that's the way I look at it. And I still think the criteria at the NABBA universe and the Britain is a great criteria, and we've got some fantastic competitors. I look on bodybuilding now as my earlier days, whereas I thought it was the best days of bodybuilding, because I liked competitors who had the width and also narrow waists. I am not into this big blocky bodybuilders. That's never been my thing. I think that has gone down, but I think at the present moment they're trying to bring that physique back, where you have small waists, good condition, beautiful size, not over big arms, because sometimes you go to a bodybuilding show and you look at a guy and say, well, his body's okay, but his legs are not in par. But that was just one of the things that I used to look for. I want a balanced physique. You can't have anything that's good balance. The guys that are training are not going to these big gyms. They're going to, not places like mine, but like the NAPA Academy, and this is not a plug for NAPA. Their gym is absolutely fantastic, and that's what top bodybuilders or bodybuilders who intend to compete, that's what they're looking for. You need to get into the gyms like Eddie Elwood's and gyms that sort, where a guy is interested in you, not somebody who is only interested in your money. The thing that kills bodybuilders is the diuretics. You know, I don't know if you know steroids, and we know about steroids, but I've never heard where a steroid killed a bodybuilder. But diuretics and dehydration, and that can kill bodybuilders. And I think most of the bodybuilders that's died, it's been something like that. I know there's two been dead this last couple of week or so. I know one was supposed to have choked it out. The other one I don't know about. But I think this dehydration, because once you dehydrate too much, or you take Lasix to get rid of water, then you don't take another thing to keep your electrolytes going, your heart will stop. We used to have a doctor in the north, and he used to have a clinic on a Thursday night, and any bodybuilder that was on steroids or anything like that could go to this doctor. He wouldn't advise them what to take or what, but he would check on them to make sure their bloods was all right. And I think that's what any bodybuilder that is taking anything like that should be at his doctor's at least once a month while he's taking this stuff, to see the doctor. You know, just don't take it for chance. Or guy, oh, I'm taking this and I'm taking that. Don't. Go and see a doctor. They won't tell you what to take or anything like that, but they'll advise you if you were ill. In Russia, with a team of bodybuilders, and we went as a team, and we all came back as friends. And most of them will be there tonight. And that's what it's about. Making friends. And all the people that are there tonight are coming as my friends and me as their friends.
What does it mean to you?
Everything in the world.
After a busy day of interviews and showing me around his gym and home, it was now time to set off for the evening celebrations at Highfield Hotel. Most certainly a special night for Bryan, Hazel and all of their friends.
We're all here for a special reason today, and it's only right that Bryan wants to say a few words to say thank you to everybody that has made a special effort to arrive here today. He's always surrounded by friends, and they are true friends. So I'd like to give a big round of applause. I'd like to stand in ovation to Mr. Bryan Robinson. You can sit down now because you won't be able to see us. Hi-ho! Bryan, it's your 80th birthday. I know you've got a few things to say. But you must be absolutely flabbergasted. Make sure you don't get me on the side. You must be absolutely flabbergasted that such a fantastic turnout of friends.
Fantastic.
That go back 49 years. Not for me. So, I'll hand over to you.
I want to turn to your right. Kelsey. Stop pausing. Can't get married. But I would like to thank you all for coming. I've never seen as many people come so far for a free meal. I think I've been a very, very lucky man. I'm married into a great family with Vaughan and all the rest of them, and it's been a lot of happy years, but I still think they got the best of the bargain. They got me.
Yay!
But I've got 3 families, and that is one of them. The other family is the Citrone family. Me, that man up there, stand up.
Johnny.
We've been together for over 50 years. When he's in England, we see each other every day. And by Saturday and Sunday, we're sick of each other, so we don't see each other on the weekend. And then also, I've got my NABBA family. And all of these people, the competitors, the judges, have been with me for a lot of years. It's been fantastic. The guy that just introduced me, I knew him when he was a kid. And just a very young person.
Still is.
Yeah.
He thinks he is. But no, it's been really fantastic. As I said about the Citrone family, Carlo, who is John's son, I used to bath him in the sink when he was little. But I don't think he would ever get in the sink now. He wouldn't even get his feet in.
You heard it.
But also, I've been all over the world with some great bodybuilding people. And it doesn't matter when I go away with these people, we go away as a team. And we come back as friends. And we're all here. I don't know how many more years I've got. But they're sitting across there and they've told me I must be in Italy with them next year, and I hope I am. But I've got the startings of another family, and this is the NAPA family. Chris and his people have started to be part of my life. And I want to thank them very, very much. And when I look around here, and I see all of you people sitting here, and I think, these are friends. Friends you cannot buy. Friends are given freely. And I would like to thank you all for being my friend. Thank you. Thank you.
He doesn't know this is coming. But this trophy was made only for like the Northwest really. But Bryan's never missed a Northwest. And for whatever reason, Bryan isn't honoured as much as he should be. Because I've been around in bodybuilding since late night. And the only person really that I would say over as a legacy bigger than you was the Oscar Hanstein. But apart from that, you are the man, regardless of titles or positions, that will always leave a legacy as the NABBA man.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this part of the evening is over. Thank you very much. Now the dancing starts. Get up, enjoy yourself. Thank you.
As the celebrations began to gather pace, I could see Bryan was truly in his element. even brandishing the microphone a few more times throughout the night. During the interviews, I asked each of his friends to describe Bryan in one word. Here's what they had to say.
He's like a dad. Honest, he is. That's the way he comes across. You can tell him out, you can ask him out.
Character. He's a character. Aye.
Can cut something well.
It's fine.
It's Larry.
Oh, sorry. It's like a big granddad to us all. Do you know what I mean? That's the best way to describe it. Yeah, definitely.
Can I say 2 words?
Go on.
And it would be lovely man. Or 1 word would be a gentleman.
Big.
Legend.
Legend.
Great guy. Fantastic wife. Top class couple.
He's a gentleman. He's a gentleman, Bryan. He's the father figure for everybody, for so many people.
You're a legend.
Yeah, legend, mate. What you do is amazing.
He's the most lovablest character I know.
Fantastic.
Just dedication. It's his life. It's really what he lives for.
It was clear to see that although he never made it as a bodybuilder, Bryan had become his own champion, respected by his peers and loved by his friends. After dodging the camera for most of the day, I managed to corner Bryan's wife Hazel to see what she thinks of Bryan's achievements, his journey, and playing a huge part in the story of NABBA herself.
I think he's going to be very, very happy. I mean, he's always had a lot of friends, and to prove it, they've come today. So he is going to be very happy after a stressful week.
Yeah.
Well, I think Bryan still has a lot to offer as regards bodybuilding because it's his life. You know, he really, really loves it. He's been a wonderful husband.
Wonderful husband.
Yep. Yes, and he's been there for me. And he's easy to look after in lots of ways. Well, I think he knows that I love him, or I wouldn't still be here. And I think hopefully we have a few more years together. It would be nice to spend a few years in the sunshine rather than at all bodybuilding shows.
Happy birthday, Bryan.
Yes, Bryan, I'm catching up, but you're still just ahead.
Bryan, happy 80th birthday. We all love you. Broccoli adores you as a godfather. You're just amazing and I love you lots.
Yeah, happy birthday, old man. I love you to the end of the earth, mate.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I just want to say a big thanks, Bryan, for all the support over the years. It's been a long, long time. You know, the whole bodybuilding career, you've always given me support and encouragement, yourself and Hazel. So I just want to say a big, big thank you.
Don't know whether I'm going to swear or anything like that or not. Well, you little bastard. Yeah, it's been good coming here for all these years, and I'm sure I'll keep coming. I hope there's more years to come. So, good man.
You are, Bryan, a special person. You are a dad for many people. Thanks for your presence in my life, in our life.
Hello, Bryan. Hi.
You are a great person. Thank you so much for everything. I love you, you and Hazel.
Bye.
A big egg for Italy.
I just want to wish you a great 80th birthday, Bryan. You look fantastic. You're still looking well, and just keep going, buddy. Keep going. Keep doing what you do.
Obviously, happy birthday, Bryan. 80. It's a big one. You contributed a lot of your life into bodybuilding and NABBA.
Thank you so much for asking us to be here to share your very special birthday with you. We wouldn't have missed it for the world. We both love you, Keith and I love you, and have a great night.
Our federation will have something, a value, a culture, a history that can never be denied. And Bryan, without you, that would never have happened.
Happy birthday, Bryan. Been a fantastic night. This is getting towards the end of the night, and you said it all before, mate. You're surrounded by friends. Surrounded by friends.
On reflection, Bryan's 80th birthday was a chance to commemorate his life's work and dedication to the sport we all know and love. Bryan Robinson, a man from the north of England who has spent his entire adult life dedicating himself to the sport of bodybuilding. Not for fame or fortune, not for glory or titles, but for friendship and the sheer love of the sport. Him and his wife Hazel are known throughout the world for who they are and what they do. His voice plays back in people's heads when they are gearing up for a show or remembering their time on stage. He is the continuity. You can change the venues, countries, judges and lighting, but it just wouldn't be the same without the voice of NABBA.
Quarter turn to your right.